everybody, my name is Dr. Bliss. I'm the Director of Percussion Studies here at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and we're so glad you joined us for the UT Percussion Podcast, Senior Clinic Edition. We are going to be filming some small podcasts over the next couple of weeks here in November of 2012, as a lot of you students are getting ready to take the WTS, MTS, and ETSBOA senior clinic auditions, and we thought we'd pitch in and see if we could help out. So these podcasts will be performed by several of my students along with myself, and we'll be working together to try to give you some helpful hints and tips as you prepare for your auditions upcoming in the next several weeks and months. So please note that we don't think that our interpretation of these pieces is the only way to do these. So if you have gotten instruction otherwise, certainly listen to your teachers and all of those good things. But we do want to give you some feedback, especially for those of you students who are in more remote locations throughout the state of Tennessee and possibly don't have a private instructor available. We thought, why not use the internet to share some of the things that we do here at UT. So we hope you enjoy these. We'll be doing MTSBOA excerpts this week and then releasing the others very shortly after. You're always welcome to email me here at the university. My name, again, is Andy Bliss. My email is abliss@utk.edu, and you can find the UT Percussion Studio on Facebook if you search UT Percussion, and our Twitter handle is @UT Percussion. So best of luck to you in your audition, and we hope you take something enjoyable from this series of podcasts. Have a great day. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the UT Percussion Podcast. Again, my name is Andy Bliss, and I'm here with Kevin Hanrahan from Chicago, Illinois. He's one of our graduate students here. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
I apologize for my voice. I've got some allergies acting up. We also have our methods class rehearsing down the hall, so hopefully it's not too distracting for you guys. But we wanted to get this out there for you, and today we're going to talk a little bit about timpani. Mm-hmm. So Kevin's been nice enough to prepare this timpani Etude, which you, if you're watching, have just heard on the podcast. And now we're going to just break it down and let him talk to you guys a little bit about how he prepared this this exercise. So what were some things that came up for you, Kevin?
Well, the first thing that was a little bit of an issue to me to kind of notice was in the first line, third measure, count 4, the 16 notes, moving down the drums. The crescendo only goes to mezzo forte. So since you have a lot of motion with shifting your body up here, it's really important to really be conscious of not letting this mezzo forte on the 8th notes in the 4th measure to not achieve anything higher than a mezzo forte level. With a lot of motion here, a lot of energy, it's going to be really common to play louder than mezzo forte.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, good. What else?
In the second line, 2nd measure, there's 2 stickings written for the pickups into the 3rd bar, or alternating with the cross. Either sticking is good, it's just that each sticking has kind of its own issues. If you're going to choose with the double, just make sure that there's a balance between the 32 and the 29-inch timpani, so then each note speaks. Or if you're doing the cross, make sure that you're really achieving the playing zones, especially on the 23, because your right hand goes 32 to 23.
Yeah, good. So 2 things I want to discuss there. First of all, remember anybody out there watching that the stickings that you find in these method books are always suggested stickings. They're never required. No one will ever mark points off if you choose a different sticking, or at least they shouldn't, because it's just a way of the author telling you maybe how they imagined you would get through a passage. But they're always open to interpretation, and in fact, throughout this entire exercise, there are a couple of different stickings that could work really well, especially as we get into that next line. But before we go on, Kevin, why don't you talk just quickly about how you make sure that you set up the drums in a way that you achieve those playing zones without having to think too much about it?
Sure. As far as setting up the drums in an etude like this, since there's no tuning changes and there's nothing really footwork, I set the drums up in an arc where if I were to shift my upper body, both my mallets would be in the playing position of each drum. Here, here.
For those of you who aren't familiar with the playing positions we're discussing, you should shoot to be approximately a third of the way in from the rim. As you get close to the center of the head, hit the center of the head real quick. You notice that there's a lot less resonance coming out of the timpani, and as we get really close to the rim, we get a little bit thinner sound. So just use your ear, you don't need to get a ruler out, and you'll actually be able to feel the mallet react a little bit differently in each zone. It should feel really good when you strike the drum, and that's going to get a nice consistent tone so that your levels aren't jumping all over. It's a different timbre if you strike the drum in different spots, and so the best timpanists have a really quality sound from drum to drum, as he was saying in that first passage. Great, lots of good stuff there. So let's keep moving. What other things came up?
The next spot that was a bit of an issue that I thought was the third line, second measure, the eighth notes. Now there's two stickings written in, again, as suggestions. Double, and then the alternating. Both, again, have their pros and cons. I personally chose to double the entire bar. Mainly for the reason that coming out of the second bar into the first count of the third bar, the 1 and a 2 rhythm, just the consecutive right hand, 4 and 1 and a 2, it gives the left hand enough time to kind of relax, because the left hand is not playing like in the alternating sticking. It goes from playing quarter notes to straight eighth notes. Right? A lot of the times going from the eighth notes with alternating sticking into left, left, right, left, it's going to have a tendency to slow down. So that's kind of a difficult rhythm to do without really dragging it, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. And at first glance, a lot of times timpani etudes and a lot of snare drum excerpts that we see from orchestra and even keyboard, a lot of times it's just quarter notes and eighth notes, and it can be deceiving because we see these rhythms in a fairly simple passage, and it's like, oh, I could sight read this. But you notice how much care Kevin is taking and playing with not just acceptable time, but really, really immaculate time and rhythm, tone quality. All those details are the things that end up setting professional level players apart from student level players. So really take care in listening to the sound that you're getting out of the drums, and also the rhythm that you're why you're doing sticking a certain way can really affect your rhythm. So. Good. Any last things that you want to share?
Yeah, one more little place. The entire last line of the etude, this entire etude is mostly duple bass, eighth notes and sixteenths, and then it goes to all quarter note triplets and eventually half note triplets in the first 4 measures of the fourth line. So I just really tried to take care of subdividing eighth note triplets over that entire section. So coming out of the 4th bar, 3rd line into the triplets, I would be thinking 1E and a 2E and 3 and 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3, a 4 and a 1, a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3. A 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3, a 4 and a 1. Just because the smallest common denominator for those 4 measures is eighth note triplets. So just in order to make sure that my time is consistent and across the board, I'm really trying to subdivide eighth note triplets for the entire time.
Yeah, and I noticed on the full run, Kevin did such a good job of that it almost sounds like there's a metric modulation there, and so it's definitely something to pay careful attention to. So thanks a lot for listening. We'll have more Etudes up next week.